how would you see Trey Lance performing in this offense? If
I don't
Trey
think he
Lance
can throw
switch
well
positions.
enough. Yeah, exactly. If Lance is on this team, I think he's the wildcat quarterback, and I don't think he throws very much. If you put Trask on North Dakota State, I think he'd be phenomenal.
Yeah, I think you'd see, the throws his ability to throw would shine against North in that, when you see some of those plays in the game that we did with Lance that are wide open that he doesn't even pull the trigger on. You're going to see those are the kind of throws that we saw tonight from Trask. I think he's a much better passer. He's much further along in that regard.
His willingness to pull the trigger in tight windows when guys are covered to throw with anticipation is better than any quarterback we've watched so far. Would you agree with that?
Yes.
Would you say that his ability to maneuver with bodies around him in the pocket is better than any quarterback we've seen so far?
Yes. It's definitely better than we saw with Wilson for sure. Okay,
we haven't watched Fields yet. We haven't watched Mac Jones yet. We're going to watch more of these guys. What would you say the weaknesses we saw in his game against Alabama were? Decision-making at times?
Yeah, he had some stretches where he was a little inconsistent, and you see him kind of hang on to reads a little bit too long a few different times. As I mentioned, he doesn't have the big arm, but he has a functional arm. But my biggest thing with him was there was just kind of a stretch there in the middle of the game where he just became inconsistent.
Yes.
And really kind of struggled there.
Yes. And that's part of the reason they lost, because they fell behind by so much and had to, cover that ground. It'd be interesting to see if he winds up on a team with no offensive talent. He might really struggle. But if he came to a team like the Niners and he could play with Deebo Samuel, Brandon Ayuk, that running game, that tight end, and you actually gave him a running game and a play action game and didn't just say, just live in the shotgun all day, he might actually do well. I'm not saying he's a first round pick, but would you feel comfortable with taking him in the second round?
Yeah, definitely. In round 2, he'd be the guy that I'd go after if I was picking a quarterback there. He's fit. That's the area that he fits. He'd be a good guy if you're going to keep Garoppolo for 2021. This is the guy that you'd want to pick, somebody like this, because you'd be able to groom him for a year. And he fits that whole Carson Wentz. Again, he's got the size. He's got the mobility. He really could fit that role. I'd much rather see the Flyers, stick with Garoppolo, go this route than make a trade for Wentz that's been talked about. Okay,
so in the future, I'd like to do Justin Fields against Alabama just to round out the Alabama saga, because it's interesting to see all these people play the same team. And then what I'd like to start doing is comparing prospects. So like maybe a double feature if we can have some time, where we do Trask against Rosen against Darnold, Rosen against Wilson, things like that. Because I think maybe against similar opponents as one-to-one as we can make it, because that'll be a fun exercise as well.
Oh yeah, definitely.
Zach, thanks as always. This was a lot of fun. And I hope people, I didn't read the comments today, but I hope people found it interesting, because I actually really like watching all these quarterbacks, but Trask in particular. The stuff that he does well is subtle and it's fun.